I'm going to be adding one legend to every single franchise here in NHL 24, and we are going to see how big of an impact these guys have over the course of a simulation. Now, obviously, these are the best players in the world, or the best players ever, really, as a lot of these guys have accomplished amazing things with their franchises. We are going to see what else they can accomplish here in NHL 24. So, without further ado, no more talking. Let's go ahead and see what legends I have added to every single franchise in the league. So, for the Anaheim Ducks, it'll be Scott Niedermayer at a 92 overall. For the Arizona Coyotes, I had to go with Shane Doan, who's an 86. For the Boston Bruins, obviously Bobby Orr, the best defenseman in the history of the game. He's a 97 overall, which I believe is tied for the highest in the entire game. For the Buffalo Sabres, it is going to be Dominic Hasek, 93 overall, one of, if not the greatest goalie in the NHL's history. For the Calgary Flames, I had to go with Jerome McGinley, 90 overall. For Carolina, it's going to be their current head coach, Rod Brindamore. He's an 87 overall. For Chicago, it'll be none other than Glenn Hall in the net at a 93. I don't know how much that's actually going to help their team, considering they're pretty awful in this game. For Colorado, it's going to be none other than Joe Sakic, 93 overall. Columbus is going to have their best player in their history, Rick Nash, at an 88. For the Dallas Stars, it'll be Mike Modano at a 91. For the Red Wings, obviously, I had to go with Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe, 95 overall. For the Oilers, it will be Wayne Gretzky, who is the same overall as Connor McDavid. Florida is going to have my favorite goalie of all time, and Roberto Luongo at a 91. Now, for the LA Kings, it'll be none other than Luc Robitaille, who's a 92. The Minnesota Wild, honestly, they don't really have much to choose from, so I just added Owen Nolan. I don't know how much of an impact he's really going to make. Obviously, for the Montreal Canadiens, it's going to be Patrick Waugh at a 96 overall, the highest overall goalie in the entire game. Nashville is going to have the guy who dated Carrie Underwood and Mike Fisher. He's only an 84, but he did captain this team to a Stanley Cup Finals appearance back in 2017, and they were absolutely electric on that run. The New Jersey Devils, of course, are going to get Martin Brodeur, 94 overall. The Islanders will get Dennis Potvin at a 91. The Rangers are going to get Mark Messier at a 94. For the Ottawa Senators, it'll be the rock star Danny Heatley, 50 in 07, baby. He's an 88 overall. For the Philadelphia Flyers, I went with Eric Lindros, who's up at a 92. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, obviously Mario Lemieux, 96 overall. Technically one less than Connor McDavid and Wayne Gretzky. For the San Jose Sharks, they really didn't have anybody to choose from. They don't have Patrick Marleau or Joe Thornton in the alumni team. I don't know where they're at in this game, but I just went with Dan Boyle, 87 overall. Elite defender, I guess. Obviously, the Seattle Kraken are not going to have anybody. For the St. Louis Blues, it'll be Brett Hall at a 92. For the Tampa Bay Lightning, I went with Marty St. Louis, the current coach of the Montreal Canadiens. He's going to be an 89 overall. For Toronto, I went with Johnny Bower in the net because they do need a goaltender. He's a 92 overall. Now, Vancouver's an interesting one. They're technically going to get an unfair advantage as they're going to pick up the Sedin sisters, Daniel and Henrik. 89 overall. They ovulate at the same exact time, get their periods at the same exact time as well, so they should be a lethal duo in the simulation. Vegas is not going to have anybody. Washington is going to have Mike Gartner at an 89 overall, and of course, the Winnipeg Jets will get Teemu Selanne at a 93. Probably the greatest rookie season in the history of the NHL. I mean, the dude scored, how many goals was it? 73, I believe? 76 goals in his rookie season. Absolutely insane. The following season, he only scored 25, which is wild. So, before we go ahead and see who dominates the new NHL with legends back in the league, if you guys do enjoy videos like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot, especially with the YouTube algorithm. Also, turn on notifications so I don't miss a single live stream or video that I put out. Now, at the end of season number 1, the Boston Bruins will finish with the best record in the entire league as they went 57, 18, and 7, 121 points. I mean, you did just add the best defender of all time to the team in Bobby Orr, so that's not that much of a surprise. Colorado was very good as well, winning 55 games. Dallas was up there. The LA Kings were surprisingly well. Toronto won 46 games. The Rangers were up there, as well as the Devils. At the bottom, we do have the Nashville Predators, the Columbus Blue Jackets, RIP Rick Nash, and of course the Vegas Golden Knights. They didn't get to add anybody. I mean, I'm surprised Seattle's not down here also, but Vegas and Seattle did not get to add a single soul because they don't have any alumni players. They've been in the NHL for like 7 years. A great one, Wayne Gretzky, is going to go ahead and lead the entire NHL in goals with 55 and points with 124, followed by Connor McDavid, who had 123. Jason Robertson was up there with 107. I have literally not heard of this guy this season. Where is this man at? After putting up over 100 points last season, he's been very quiet this year. David Pastrnak at 104. Nylander was up there. Nathan McKinnon had a good season, as well as Brad Marchand, Crosby, and Mitch Marner. Now for the goal side, there's going to be a two-way tie between Wayne Gretzky and Brett Hall. They each had 55 apiece. apiece. Lemieux had 53, Matthews 52, Ovi was up there at 49, Kyle Connor had a good season, Sam Reinhart had 48 goals. He'll probably finish around there, maybe like 52, 53. For defensemen, Bobby Orr is going to lead with 97 points on the season, followed by Erik Karlsson's 94. Cale Makar had 84. Quinn Hughes was up there. Not a lot of great defenders here. I mean, I added a few of them in here. Not a lot of them are putting up points. Scott Niedermayer did have 13 goals and 69 points. Now, for goalies, Igor Shesterkin is going to lead in wins with 44, followed by Tristan Jarry's 41 and Johnny Bauer's 41. Now, on the shutout side, Cam Talbot is going to tie for the lead alongside Jake Ottinger and Thatcher Demko, who all had 6 apiece. Roberto Luongo, Bobby Lou, baby, was up there with 5. Didn't really have a great season, though. Only an .895 save percentage and a .365 GAA. And here we go in year number 1. This is our playoff bracket. So let's simulate along and see who makes the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Dallas Stars up against the Boston Bruins. So Mike Modano up against Bobby Orr. Let's see who goes on, and we'll take the Stanley Cup home at the end of season number 1. And surprisingly, the Dallas Stars are going to steamroll the Boston Bruins in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. I honestly thought it would be a lot closer of a series, maybe back and forth 6 or 7. But Dallas was clearly the better team, and I mean, in real life, I would take them over Boston in a 7-game series, obviously minus the legends that were added to the team. Maybe Bobby Orr didn't make as big of a difference as I thought he would. I mean, he is the greatest defenseman of all time. There he is, not even rocking a Bucky. He does not need one. Now, for the Conn Smythe, it's going to go to Jason Robertson, 11 goals and 32 points for him. A very well and deserved comeback season. And here it is. The Stanley Cup sadly has to be raised in Boston, as Dallas is the away team going to win that Stanley Cup. Here comes Jamie Benn, the captain of Dallas, coming to lift it for the very first time in his career, rewriting the wrong of 2020 as the Dallas Stars here in season number 1 have gone all the way and are Stanley Cup champions. Now, for the playoffs, Jason Robertson and Joe Pavelski are going to tie. They both had the same exact stat lines, 11 goals and 32 points. Mike Modano had 15 goals and 28 points. Jake DeBrusk was up there. Luc Robitaille had a very good playoff run. Nylander was up there with 20 points in only 11 games. Wayne Gretzky is going to take home pretty much all the major individual awards. The Norris will go to Bobby Orr. The Conn Smythe to Jason Robertson. Cam Talbot is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So as we continue to get closer and closer to the playoffs, let me know in the comments below, who do you guys think is actually going to go on and win the Stanley Cup? Realistically, not who you want to win the Stanley Cup. Take all your bias aside, pick a team that you actually believe has the best shot at doing so. I mean, Florida literally just traded for Vladimir Tarasenko. I could see them winning it. Dallas is another team. Obviously, the Oilers are a top contender. It'll be tough for Vegas to go back-to-back, but I don't think they're going to do that. Let me know in the comments below who you guys think is going to take it home at the end of the season this year. Now, at the end of the second season, Vancouver is going to go ahead and be the best team in the entire NHL. They win 55, 20, and 7, good enough for 117 points. Followed by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Colorado was up there, New Jersey, Buffalo, and the Boston Bruins. I mean, Buffalo is getting carried by Dominic Hasek, that is for sure. At the bottom, we have Arizona, Chicago, Minnesota, and Montreal. Damn, Patrick Waugh did not make that big of a difference, I guess. Only 34 wins for Les Montreal de Canadiens. Brett Hull is going to go ahead and lead the entire NHL in goals with 74 and points with 119. This dude simulates absolutely insane in this game. He did in NHL 23 as well. Lemieux had 114. Elias Pettersson was up there at 110. Matthews had a good season, as well as McKinnon. Daniel Sedin made the cut, 107 points. Obviously, McDavid and Gretzky were up here too. And for the goal side, other than Hull, Lemieux had the most at 58. Followed by Matthews, who had 56. Pasternak had 54. Brock Besser had 52. Bobby Orr again is going to lead all D-man in scoring, this time with 93 on the season. It was really not that close. Erik Karlsson at 84, John Carlson 81. Thatcher Demko is going to lead all goalies in wins with 43, followed by Tristan Jarry's 42, and Stuart Skinner, who had 38. Now for the shutout side, Demko will lead with 7. Most likely going to win the Vezina, as Freddie Anderson, Kakkonen, Binnington, and Tristan Jarry all had 6 shutouts on the year. Here we go yet again. This is our year number 2 playoff bracket, so let's see who advances to the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the Vegas Golden Knights up against the Buffalo Sabres. So Dominic Hasek up against literally nobody. But I mean, hopefully the Sabres can't pull this off. Hasek can lead them to a championship, as we are going to find out who's going to take home the Stanley Cup at the end of year number 2. I definitely messed up. That's for sure here. as the Buffalo Sabres are going to defeat the Vegas Golden Knights in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. You know what? Screw it. Run it. I'll just go get it back after recording. So congratulations to Buffalo for getting it done here in year number 2. Man, why does this keep happening to me? Every single video, it seems lately. I always have to mess up some way, shape, or form. Mark Stone is actually going to lead the entire playoffs in scoring with 25 points in 24 games, followed by Jack Eichel, who had 21, as well as Skinner and Carlson. Nathan MacKinnon was up there. Tage Thompson had a pretty good playoff run himself. Not a lot of scoring going on in the playoffs this year. I'm kind of surprised by that, honestly. Elias Pettersson is going to take home the Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross and Maurice Richard will go to Brett Hull. The Norris is going to go to Bobby Orr again. Jeff Skinner is going to win the Conn Smythe. Tristan Jarry will take home the Vezina, and the Selke again is going to go to Matthews. I have a feeling it'll probably go to him all 5 years. Gordie Howe is going to carry the Red Wings to the best team in the entire NHL here in season number 3 as they went 51, 24, and 7. Followed by the Boston Bruins, who are always dangerous. Colorado's up there. Dallas is always good as well. Winnipeg and the Toronto Maple Leafs now at the bottom. We have pretty much the same teams in Arizona, Washington, and the Buffalo Sabres. After winning the Stanley Cup last season, they are literally going to be bottom 3 in the entire NHL. See, that's the thing with goaltenders, man. They're hot. When they're not, they're not. Nathan MacKinnon is going to lead the NHL in scoring with 114 points, followed by Brett Hull's 110. Matthews had 106. Rantanen 104. Marchand was up there. Where is Lemieux, Gretzky? Literally all the legends. I mean, Rick Nash had 98 points and 34 goals, which might honestly be a career high. Oh, great. EA Sports added him to the game, added him to the alumni team, but of course, they do not have any of his stats throughout his entire career. Classic EA Sports added again. Now, for goals, Kyle Connor and Brett Hull are going to tie at 61 apiece, followed by Kaprizov, who had 58. Lemieux had 57, Matthews 56, and Luke Robitaille 51. Bobby Orr is going to dominate for defensemen again, this time only 86 points, and he was a -1. Followed by Cale Makar, who had 83. Roman Josi had 82. Josh Morrissey was up there, as well as Scott Niedermayer. Johnny Bauer is going to tie for wins alongside Ville Husso. They both had 42 apiece. Stuart Skinner had 41. Patrick Waugh, 41. And now for shutouts, it'll be Johnny Bauer with the lead. He had 5. This is our playoff bracket here in season number 3, or year number 3, whatever way you want to slice it. Now in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have the St. Louis Blues up against the New York Rangers. So Brett Hull up against, I believe, Mark Messier. That'll be a very interesting matchup. 2 of the ball-headed freaks. So let's see who goes on and takes home the Stanley Cup at the end of year number 3. St. Louis, or will it be the New York Rangers? And the Rangers are pretty much going to steamroll the St. Louis Blues in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. It was not really that close. They were by far the better team, and I mean with the leadership of Mark Messier, that is definitely going to help them out a ton, as he might be the greatest leader in the NHL's history. I mean, obviously Crosby's up there, Wayne was a pretty good leader himself, but Mark Messier had a lot of moments where it's like he's the man, he's the guy to lead this team to battle, and come out on top, honestly, as the Conn Smythe will go to Mark Messier. 13 goals, 20 assists for 33 points on the season, as for some reason he does have hair here, so he looks a lot better than he does in real life, but I mean, he's almost 60 years old right now. Congratulations to the Rangers, and of course to Mr. Messier, as the Stanley Cup will be raised in St. Louis. Hopefully nobody gets shot, as it is the murder capital of the US and of A. Now here comes probably the second greatest captain in the NHL's history, Jacob Trouba, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the first time, as the Rangers have done it here in season number 3. They have gone all the way and won the Stanley Cup. Brett Hull is going to absolutely tear up in the postseason. 20 goals and 33 points, tied with Mark Messier. Artemi Panarin had 31. Buchnevich was up there with 27. Jordan Kyrou had 25. Marchand had 25 in only 16 games. Austin Matthews is going to take him to Ted Lindsay and the Hart Trophy, while the Art Ross will go to Nathan MacKinnon and Maurice Richard to Brett Hull. The Norris will actually go to Cale Makar, not Bobby Orr. Obviously, Messier is going to win the Conn Smythe. Stuart Skinner is actually going to win the Vezina, as the Selke will go to Matthews yet again for the 3rd season in a row. Now, at the end of season number 4, Colorado is going to go ahead and be the best team in the entire NHL, as they finish with a record of 55, 25, and 2, 112 points, followed by the Vancouver Canucks, who had 50 wins. The Red Wings were up there with 48. Tampa Bay was good. Dallas and New Jersey at the bottom. We pretty much have the same teams, so I don't think I'm going to take too much of a look at these guys anymore. This is what you call the loser bracket right here. Nathan MacKinnon is going to go ahead and lead the NHL in scoring yet again, this time with 122 points, followed by Mikko Rantanen's has 114. Nikita Kucherov was up there. Lemieux had 110. Matthews 108. Pasta 107. Sidney Crosby still doing his thing, 106 points. Shout out to Daniel Sedin as well, 51 goals and 104 points. Speaking of goals, David Pastrnak is going to lead with 61 on the season, followed by McKinnon's 54. Kyle Connor had 54. Matthews 53. Kucherov 52. Sedin, Lemieux, Rantanen all had 51 and 50 apiece. Erik Karlsson is actually going to have more points than Bobby Orr, 17 goals and 87 points, followed by Cale Makar, who had 86. Dahlin had 78. Bobby Orr had only 77. Demko and Vasi, as well as Tristan Jarry, are all going to tie for the lead in wins with 42. Now for the shutout side, it is going to be a two-way tie between Jake Ottinger and UC Saros, who each had 7 apiece. This is our playoff bracket here in year number 4. Now in the Stanley Cup Finals, we have a rematch from, I believe, either year number 1 or 2. It doesn't matter. Regardless, we have Mike Modano and the Dallas Stars up against Bobby Orr and the Boston Bruins. Dallas dominated last time, so let's see if they can win their second Stanley Cup of the video, or will Boston upset and win their very first here in NHL 24. And the Boston Bruins are going to get the revenge over the Dallas Stars as they dominate them in 5 games. Seems like every single series is going only 5 games. But regardless, Bobby Orr will lead the Bruins to a Stanley Cup here in NHL 24 as he's wearing those brown-ass skates that look honestly very disgusting. I mean, it fits his culture though. He was, what, the 60s or 70s? They probably had skates that looked just like that back then when they were wearing them. As David Pastrnak is going to take home the Conn Smythe, 11 goals and 28 points for Pasta. Alepega Pasta has a word of being the best pasta in the game, as it is now Boston's turn to win the Stanley Cup on away ice, as Dallas did it in Boston, and now Boston is doing it in Dallas. Here comes the Rat, Brad Marchand, coming to lift the cup for the second time in his career, first as a captain, as the Boston Bruins have won it all here in year number 3. David Pastrnak is going to lead the playoffs in scoring with 28 points. He also had 11 goals. Brad Marchand had 26. Bobby Orr 25 and 20 assists. Jerome McGinley had 23. He's been very quiet throughout this video. Kuzmenko at 21. Coleman 19. McKinnon is going to win the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Pasta is going to take home the Maurice Richard. The Norris will go to Erik Karlsson. The Conn Smythe to David Pastrnak as well. Andrei Vasilevsky is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Matthews yet again. Now at the end of the 5th and final season, the Edmonton Oilers have come out of nowhere and finished as the best team in the NHL. They went 54, 23, and 5. They have been very quiet throughout the video. McDavid and Gretzky duo has not been that great. Vancouver has 51 wins. Buffalo was up there. Boston and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Wayne Gretzky and Connor McDavid are going to tie for the most points in the NHL at 111, followed by William Nylander's 108. Brad Marchand had 107. Matthews is up there. Daniel Sedin had 103. McKinnon, Kucherov. Now for the goal side, Kucherov is going to lead with 60 on the year, followed by Matthews 54. Kyle Connor had 53. Kaprizov was up there, as well as Mario Lemieux with 50. Bobby Orr is going to lead all defenders in points with 84, followed by Erik Karlsson 77. Quentin Hughes had 75. Roman Josi was up there with 73, as well as Rasmus Dahlin. Now for goalie, Stuart Skinner is going to lead in wins with 45, and for shutouts, it'll be Thatcher Demko, who had 8. And this is our final playoff bracket of the entire video. Let's see who advances to the Stanley Cup Finals. And in the Stanley Cup Finals, we yet again have the Boston Bruins for the 3rd time in this video, and they are up against the Winnipeg Jets. So Teemu Selanne up against Bobby Orr for the 5th and final season, or 5th and final Stanley Cup, I should say. Let's see who goes on and takes it home. So I guess we saved the best for last, as the Winnipeg Jets are going to be the Boston Bruins in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. We finally had a long Stanley Cup Final Series matchup. It seemed like every single year it was only going 5 games, one team dominating the other. But Teemu Selanne is going to lead the Winnipeg Jets to a Stanley Cup here in NHL 24 as they defeat the Bruins in the finals. Boston did make 3 Stanley Cup Finals, but only won 1 of them. As the Conn Smythe is going to go to Kyle Connor, 18 goals and 28 points for him. A very good playoff run. And I do believe this is Winnipeg's very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but I don't think they have a Stanley Cup. As here comes their captain, Adam Lowry, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for Winnipeg, as they have won it here in season number 5. So congratulations, Winnipeg. You guys are Stanley Cup champions. Now for the playoffs, Kyle Connor is going to dominate 18 goals and 28 points, followed by Bobby Orr, who also had 28 points. Only one goal, though. Artemi Panarin had 27. Timo Solani was up there. Mark Messier had 25. Pasta 25 as well. Wayne Gretzky is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy, while the Maurice Richard will go to Kucherov. The Norris to Bobby Orr. The Conn Smythe to Kyle Connor. Johnny Bauer is going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Mario Lemieux and not Austin Matthews. And that is going to do it for this video. I went ahead and added one legend to every single franchise in NHL 24. And while the Boston Bruins were technically the most successful, they did make 3 Stanley Cup Finals, but only won one of them. The Dallas Stars also made 2, so Mike Modano helped them out a ton. Obviously, Bobby Orr is literally the highest overall in the game at a 97, tied with Gretzky and McDavid. But overall, it was a very fun video to make. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure you support the video. Let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.